Help me out here, because I'm lost. Chris Sabin and Alex Shelley. Motor City Machine Guns. Two world-class wrestlers. One of the best, if not the best tag team in the business. One of the most popular acts in TNA who sell more merchandise than anyone else in the entire company. So do you get behind them? Do you cash in on their popularity, put them in contention for the tag team titles? No, you don't. And not only do you not do this, you have them lose an opportunity to earn a title shot, which they had already earned, by the way, and then have them get basically squashed by the two biggest jobbers on the entire TNA roster. Men with two of the worst gimmicks in professional wrestling today. Two men who have won 3 matches between them in the last 6 months. Two men who are working on a night-per-night basis without contracts. I mean, what the hell is going through the writers' heads? I heard Sabin and Shelley had some heat on them backstage, but whatever they did, it couldn't possibly have been bad enough to warrant something like this. I mean, I don't know what designer drug the TNA writers were injecting when they came up with this brain fart, but whatever it was, it must have been strong enough to kill a horse. Because that's the only thing that I can possibly think of that could explain how they could look at this angle on paper and think it was a good idea. I mean, if Shelley didn't want to do a blade job, you wanted to teach him a lesson or something, that's one thing. But from a business standpoint, from a monetary standpoint, what happened to the Motor City Machine Guns on this show went against every single impulse towards good judgment and common sense I could possibly imagine. 2 months ago, Sabin and Shelley were on fire. Now, they are lower on the card than Black Rain and Relic. Okay, I'm back. I went to go cool down for a minute. Now I'm going to talk about the rest of Impact. And that will be easy because the rest of Impact was filled with good stuff. First of all, they made a really strong effort to push the main event of Lockdown. Samoa Joe cut a really good promo about it, and this match was made to look very important. Number 1, because of Joe's promo. Number 2, because Kurt Angle is now being portrayed as a man who would rather let his marriage fall apart than take his focus off the world title and his upcoming title defense against Joe, and now, thanks to that, the world title means something again. Yes, TNA. Very good. Keep that up. Also, they announced, I think, 6 of the participants for the Lethal Lockdown match. Tomko and AJ Styles on one team, so that means that LAX aren't getting their title shot at Lockdown, which I'm kind of upset about. But it's good that they're announcing the teams as early as they can. Helps with the build-up, and it does make sense for Tomko and Christian to be captains of the opposing teams. So I guess this is all right. Speaking of LAX, I'm not sure what TNA is doing with these guys right now, but they should absolutely not be jobbing to the Rock and Raven faction when they're the number 1 contenders for the tag team titles. But from what the announcers said during this match, I think they might be building up LAX to return to their thuggish heel personas to get back to their winning ways. If that's where they're going with this, I think it's a great move because LAX have been really watered down lately, and being the badass thugs is what made them popular in the first place. I think they should go back to that. Now, for the women's division, Angelina and Velvet beat up Roxy Laveau backstage, and then we had a nice match between Velvet and Gail Kim. Gail won, and the Blondes ganged up on her at the end, after the match. So I guess Angelina and Velvet are turning heel now, which I think is probably for the best. I mean, they've just been spinning their wheels as baby faces lately. So, you know, playing second fiddle to Gail Kim and ODB and whatnot. I mean, it's probably more for them to do as heels anyway. One thing that bothered me about this, though, is that I missed the moment when they became heels in the first place. It's like they switched teams at some point during the week between last week's Impact and this week's Impact, and when this show started, they were already bad guys. So there was no real explanation for that. So that part needed a little more attention, I thought. Also, I wonder where this leaves Roxy Laveau. I'd really hate to see her get lost in the shuffle. I'm still hoping that the writers will turn her babyface and drop the Voodoo Queen gimmick, because it's definitely run its course at this point, and I think she could do a lot more without it. As for the rest of the show, we had a solid main event with Team Tomko standing tall at the end to hype the Lethal Lockdown match. We had Curryman as the first qualifier in the Escape match. It had a very good rematch between Kurt Angle and Kaz, and also a confrontation between Christian and Rhino. And what I really liked about this was that Rhino was still pissed off at Christian from when they feuded a while back, and he wanted nothing to do with Christian. So the writers actually took care to acknowledge the history between these characters for the purposes of telling a storyline instead of acting like that history never happened or completely rewriting the history with no explanation like that other company is so fond of doing. Also, we saw part 1 of Jay Lethal and SoCal Val's date with Sanjay Dutt showing up trying to steal away Val. And I really like how they're building up this love triangle storyline. They're not beating us over the head with it. They're being very subtle, touching on it a little bit here, a little bit there. It's been slow, but it's starting to pick up steam now. And if they just stay the course with this, when Sanjay finally turns on Jay Lethal, this could turn into a dynamite feud, I think. Very, very good. Good stuff right there. Something else that I should mention. I'm really enjoying this TNA rough cut thing. This documentary shoot style format that they're using is so much more effective than if you just had these guys screaming into a mic at each other. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, their upcoming match is still going to be absolutely atrocious. But I think TNA is really onto something with this rough cut format idea, because it's making these characters seem more interesting than I ever thought they could be, and no one is more surprised about that than I am. I mean, if they could do this with VKM of all people, just imagine what the TNA rough cut could do for talents that are actually worth something. And one last thing, which is a bit of a gripe I have, okay? Jim Cornette cut a promo at the start of the show, and he did mention the fact that coming up is the biggest edition of Impact in history. The problem is, he didn't say why it was important. They never mentioned the fact that Impact was going to be filmed live in 2 weeks. They've made the announcement on the website, and that's all well and good, but they need to do it on Impact too, and they need to do it immediately. Next Thursday night, the very first thing we should see is Jim Cornette or a video package in our faces telling us that the show is going live on the 27th. It's going to be a huge event, the mother of all impacts, and if you miss it, you will hate yourself forever. So anyway, that about wraps it up for this week. I definitely think the build-up for Lockdown is off to a great start. And aside from that unspeakable atrocity that I talked about at the start of this video, I definitely thought this was one of the best editions of Impact in quite a while.